City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, 1 in 9 adults here in the city reports having diabetes. Now, for those living with the disease, it's life-changing. I visited the home of one local family in the Bronx to find out the struggles that they are facing.
Every morning I get up and do my coffee.
It's a typical morning for Lisa Mateo, but if you take a closer look, life is anything but normal. For more than 20 years, the Bronx resident has lived with diabetes, the disease causing her to lose part of her leg.
How are you dealing with everything emotionally?
Oh, I'm good. I cry sometimes.
You feel like you lose a little bit of your independence?
Of course.
Her daughter, Katina, is scared for her mother's life.
She has, in the last 20 years, chosen not to be compliant with medications, not to sort of learn about ways to eat better. She's of a generation where microwavable foods, fast foods, there wasn't an emphasis in her generation placed on healthy cooking, its policy, its poverty.
According to the New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, when it comes to hospitalization for complications associated with diabetes, neighborhoods with the highest rate among adults include the South Bronx and East Harlem. That's 8 times those with the lowest in the Upper East Side and Greenwich Village.
So we're going to put a plastic cast on you, and then we're going to take it right back off as soon as it dries.
Felicita has become part of the statistic, being fitted for a prosthesis at the Hanger Clinic in the Bronx.
Once you get your leg, this is what it's going to look like.
Hakeem lost his limb 12 years ago. Today, he's part of the Amputee Empowerment Partners of Hanger, which provides emotional support for patients.
What is she going through emotionally right now?
It's ups and downs because you just don't know. She's scared. She doesn't know what she's going to get into once she puts the leg on.
So will this process be a wake-up call for Felicita to change her ways?
No, I still cheat. But I try sometimes. I don't like vegetables. I don't like, I don't drink a lot of water.
Like you see your daughter, she's worried about you. You know, does that make you feel like, you know what, I'm going to change and I'm going to...
Sometimes. Sometimes it goes over my head.
It goes over your head.
PIX11's Dr. Steve Salvatore says if Felicita doesn't alter her lifestyle, it can cause even more serious complications.
You can get blind from diabetes. You develop nerve problems, there's circulation problems. You can have increased risk of heart attack and stroke. You can die, basically, if you don't take care of your diabetes.
Katina still has faith.
My hope is that she'll make a choice, to walk more and just get out and be more active.
All right, well, joining me now are Felicita Nazario and her daughter, Katina, as well as Beth Warren. She's a registered dietitian, and she's author of a great book. It's called Living a Real Life with Real Food. So, Beth, we're going to get to the nutrition in just a bit, but I have to ask you, Feli, after seeing that on TV, what do you think? Are you more willing to open up and expand your diet, get you out there?
Yes.
Outside walking around?
Yes.
You like that? What does it feel like to hear your mom say that?
I mean, it's difficult.
Yeah.
It's difficult because food is addictive and you need food. And part of the challenge is, it's confusing what to eat, especially when you have end-stage diabetes.
Exactly. You said sometimes you feel like there's misinformation out there.
Yeah, the guidelines are very confusing.
Yeah.
And the guidelines are, if you're recently diagnosed with type 2 but never smoked and are healthy, there are guidelines that are applicable. But if you smoked for 25 years, never worked out, the guidelines for nutrition probably don't apply.
So let's get to some advice. So what are the foods that you want to avoid when you have diabetes?
Right. Well, like you said, there's a lot of misconceptions out there. So if you had to pick a food to avoid, I would say it's not all carbohydrates, but refined carbohydrates, refined greens. Okay, those have no fiber, and they really spike your blood sugar. And then another food is added sugars, not just natural sugars. Added sugars like brown rice syrup, glucose, fructose corn syrup, those types of ingredients in the product.
Okay, and how about the ones that you can eat? What can you eat?
Right.
What can you eat? That's what she wants to know.
Good carbs like whole grains with loads of fiber, and also quality protein and healthy fat like nuts. And especially when you pair the two together, it helps regulate the blood sugar even more.
All right, so let's start with breakfast. So, Feli, what do you normally have for breakfast?
Coffee.
That's it. Just coffee. All right, what have you come up with?
Well, we could keep the coffee. We're going with the coffee. We want to put low-fat milk with it, and I also showed us stevia. I know maybe you were having artificial sweeteners before. You want to try to have a natural sweetener like a stevia extract, and it comes in the same little packet. For breakfast, I noticed you like yogurt. You would choose a yogurt maybe with a little too much sugar. So a Greek yogurt would have no added sugar. Then you could add your own little carbohydrates with high fiber berries.
Okay.
High fiber granola, which is made out of whole grains, like a kind granola.
Okay.
And then chia seeds, which have a healthy boost of omega-3.
All right. Now, how about for a snack? Because you need different snacks throughout the day.
Exactly. And for blood sugar control, it's critical that you include your snacks and eat about every 3 hours, starting within 1 hour after you wake up with breakfast. So for snacks, you want to include a healthy fat and protein, like nuts. And you want to pair that with a dairy, let's say, with like cheese, which has a natural sugar to it. Or you could do, let's say, a nice treat like a kind bar, and they have a line with only 5 grams of sugar or less. And that kind of feels like a sweet treat, and it balances the sugar with the protein.
So you still get the sweetness of it.
Exactly.
Now, Christina, what does your mom usually have for lunch?
I mean, it just depends. Part of it is that she doesn't have a lot of independence at the kitchen, and she can't shop for her own food. But I would say generally it's probably a turkey sandwich on wheat, not whole wheat, with Swiss cheese.
Okay. What do you think about that?
So remember we said one of our first rules is that we should always choose whole grains, okay? So I also noticed that maybe she likes some bagels in your food log that I looked at. So you want to choose, there's something called now 100% whole wheat bagel thing. And I know you like pizza. So if you do a part skim cheese and you make kind of a pizza bagel, and don't forget you got to load those veggies. When you look at your meal, you should be eating and seeing mostly vegetables. The rest are sides. So you could still have the food that you love, something that's convenient and easy and quick to prepare, and you could still enjoy it.
All right, so finally dinner. We see this, so we have the veggies, but you also have something else, the meatballs.
Yes, exactly. So going along with the turkey theme, when you have a turkey meatball instead of a red meat meatball, you could have actually more bang for your buck. You could include a little more. And you don't have to be afraid of all pastas. The serving's a half a cup cooked, and you need a whole grain pasta. They have brown rice pasta now, quinoa pasta, whole wheat pasta, and then you want to pair that with the protein, and like I said, loads of veggies. That's unlimited. That's where you could go a little crazy, and just make sure to use an olive oil-based dressing or a nice, hard, healthy oil.
So what do you think? Something we can work on to kind of get her to eating a little bit healthy?
No, I mean, it's a shared responsibility. It's collective. It's her, it's the medical community, it's the community, it's elected officials, it's federal policy, it's state policy, but invariably it's, her personal choice and behavior.
All right. Thank you, guys. And thank you, too, for your information that you always gave us. Also, if you want to find out more information, go to PIX11.com. We have a good web extra. Dr. Steve breaks down everything about diabetes, all the facts that you need to know. Corey, over to you.
All right. Thank you so much. Some good information there. 8:22, and kids aren't just trading lunches.